McLaren have turned their fortunes in the middle of the 2023 season, and although many are still not on the hype train of the Woking-based squad, Norris has just sent a fierce warning towards the team that they're currently chasing, Red Bull. While the RB19 is the most dominant machinery, McLaren has something Red Bull doesn't, and recently both Horner and Verstappen spoke about this flaw of their team as having the potential to cost them a lot in the upcoming season in the fight with McLaren. But what makes Norris believe McLaren can all of a sudden start winning races? And even more, why is Red Bull so scared of a team that failed to finish in the points in the first couple of races in 2023? It's safe to say that McLaren are currently living their best life, and compared to where they were at the beginning of the season, this is everything the team could have hoped for. Not only are they 11 points behind Aston Martin in the fight for P4 in the Constructors' Championship, but they have also creeped behind Ferrari in what seems to be a fight that could go down to the last race of the season, similar to what Ferrari witnessed with Mercedes back in 2022. Be that as it may, McLaren now understands that there's a much bigger fish to fry in their pan, and even though Stella tried to keep everybody's hopes down low, that's very hard to do in a time where you've managed to effectively become the second fastest car throughout the second half of the season with just a couple of upgrades. What McLaren has done is basically what Mercedes would have wanted to do once they brought the new philosophy and design of their car. Start competing up front and win pole positions, as well as win the sprint race event in Qatar. All of that has been made possible by McLaren understanding where the issues were located on the car, as Stella confirmed very early in 2023 that the team is going to struggle in the first couple of races due to them missing the development window of the car. But after they got it all figured out, the first upgrades started to come in Baku, then in Austria and Silverstone, and this is where the MCL60 has effectively turned into a podium scorer. But since they were so far away from competing for race wins, as Verstappen was and still is in a world of his own, the question of whether they could challenge the Austrian team and give us the first exciting season since 2021 has risen among the fans and the F1 experts, and Lando Norris has given us a perfect answer to it. While the Woking-based squad is still humbling down its fans by saying it's impossible to gain that much performance to battle Red Bull soon, Norris believes that if they continue to follow this development path in 2024 as well, he and his teammate will have a lot more chances to win races and ruin Red Bull's perfect record, potentially even give us a championship fight as well. Elaborating on this, Norris went on to say, "Yes, I think if we continue at this rate of development, which it's impossible to continue at this rate, it's always going to slow down. Within quite a short time, it's been half a year to make as many improvements as we have in terms of lap time. We have probably improved the car up to a second in just pure pace, maybe a little bit more at some circuits and a little bit less at other circuits. But that is a huge jump, especially through the middle of the season where there are more rules than ever to stop you from developing. That's why I think it's such a good achievement, what we have managed to achieve from Bahrain to now, or even from Bahrain to Austria, Silverstone and Budapest. So then to kind of know we are going into this winter in a stronger place than ever, and it gives me more hope and be confident in saying, yes, I think we can come out next year with a stronger car." To top that off, Norris has also said that he's committed to making it work with McLaren beyond 2025, denying all rumours about a potential deal with Red Bull and turning his back on the team that brought him into the sport and moulded him into the driver he is today. The revamped machinery from McLaren seems to have awakened the fear in Red Bull as well, with both Horner and Verstappen worried about what the Woking-based squad is going to be capable of in the upcoming season. Elaborating on this, Horner wasn't shy to admit his fear after saying that McLaren have the most competitive drivers pair-up along with Mercedes and Ferrari, as he went on to say, "It has moved around over the last 4 or 5 races, but they've become certainly more consistent, the most consistent challenger. They're doing a good job and the drivers are driving well, particularly Oscar in his rookie season is doing a very strong job." This has been echoed by Verstappen as well, who has seen himself fighting much more consistently, at least during the race starts, in order to get the dominant go and cruise for an easy race win. After all, in his full competitiveness, Piastri was the first one to actually dethrone Verstappen from the race and not be his teammate, even though it was a sprint race and it was on a much shorter merit. The 1-2 starting positions in Qatar for the sprint race said enough about how the team plans to finish the season, and with 2 more sprint races until the end, this might be a more frequent scenario that will be witnessed from our side. Elaborating on the current pace of the McLaren as well as their driver lineup, Verstappen said, "As a team, they are probably the most consistent compared to the others behind us. I do think they have the best driver lineup out of all of them. They are operating really well. It's going to be interesting to the end of the year, but also I think about the start of next year to see where everyone is at." But with all this in mind, is there actually something bad awaiting McLaren in their redemption mission after what Stella said regarding fighting for wins and podiums in a more regular manner? The team principal of McLaren went on to talk about the huge deficit between Verstappen and McLaren in terms of race wins, saying that while his team has definitely made huge strides and improvements, the clear favourite is still present, and it will be almost impossible to change this on pure merit in the foreseeable future. Talking about this, Stella said, "The fact that Lando has been second 4 times actually doesn't change very much. Every event is a new event, so you have to do the whole job. You don't accrue any credit. But the results show that we have improved and are now close. But if you see the performance step that is required, for instance in Japan to be P1, it is huge, more than half a second in qualifying. We don't even know how much in the race it was because Verstappen didn't need to push, so we are very conscious that there is a lot of work to do ahead, but being P2 constantly is a good position to be in, but we just need to make the final step. But like I've said, I don't look at how far we can go, I just look at what we have to do now to go as far forwards as possible." With this in mind, the situation is loud and clear. McLaren has definitely woken up the fear inside Red Bull, but it doesn't effectively change that much because there is still a clear number 1 winner. And although Norris is very happy to close down the gap with Red Bull's Flying Dutchman, this mission is likely going to happen in the second half of 2024 or maybe even 2025. Nonetheless, the progress should not be downplayed, and as of now, McLaren is definitely the most consistent competitor that Red Bull will face in the foreseeable future and for the remainder of the 2023 season as well. Do you think McLaren has what it takes to dethrone Red Bull before 2026? Let us know in the comments below.